I can do anything. I can reach any goal today. I can do what I want. I can be what I want to be.
Alright, I think we can all agree we are living in the world of brows. They are the most important feature on our face as a general consensus. And so we're going to show you two types of brows today. One more that like Instagram style, like perfect drawn in brow, and then more your like everyday editorial brow where it doesn't really look like you filled in your brows, but you have that like youthfulness to your face. Let's start with the Instagram brow because brows on fleek, girl.
Hashtag.
All right, so I'm just gonna use a powder and an angled brush, and I'm gonna start right under the front of the brow. I'm gonna use short featherly strokes just to mimic the natural growth pattern of the hairs. I'm going to create more of a straighter line right underneath. And I'm using, if you can see, it's a lighter shade than her brows, and what we can do with that is it allows us to put more product on without it looking like a harsh, like black line. So we can kind of just create the shadow, and then we can go in later with a darker shade. Perfect. So when I've kind of created that line, I just like to flick the powder up. So when we've like generally like filled in the brow enough, we're gonna kind of use that little technique. Remember that whole little pencil thing? So we look at where the brow should start. And we see right there. Just gonna fill that in a little bit more. And we're gonna take it and we're gonna go right through the pupil, and we see that our arch is actually in the perfect place. We're gonna kind of make it a little bit more prominent. So now I'm gonna go with that darker shade, and I'm just kind of gonna start this a little bit. Draw that arch, get it a little bit stronger and more prominent, and then follow that down to make the tail. So this brow is really fun if you're going like for a night out and you want to get something a little bit more dramatic. Then we're just going to see where the brow ends, go straight through the end of the eye, follow it up, and we'll see that we just need to extend the tail a little bit more. And if you bring the tail down too much, it's going to lift, like bring the eye down, so we want to kind of keep it at a good steady angle so we can keep the brows really nice, but also the face still stays lifted. So now I'm going in with that darker shade, and I'm kind of just flicking the powder in the brows.
So it's actually like an ombre look.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's more like we've created the shadow with the lighter shade, and then we can kind of go do more like detailed, like hair by hair work just with the darker powder. So you kind of just want to like outline around the hairs so you get a straighter line. This looks so good. There's like something so satisfying about doing someone's brows. It's just like, oh, so good.
Just having them done in general, you just feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely. People definitely have a lot of confidence when their brows are done. If you want even of like a stronger, harsher look, you can even use like a brow pomade, like dip brow, something like that. But I've always liked powder. I think it's really versatile and you can really work with it. And it always looks the most natural, even if you're doing like a dramatic style. So when doing like a more filled in brow, you want to really outline the brow to get that sharper like edge. But you also want to make sure your concealer's blended out because, oh my God, when you can see the concealer, it just gives away everything. But this just really will sharpen up the brow.
And then this is like my color concealer, like my
You can
skin
use
color.
your color. I'm using a little bit lighter because it kind of
Okay.
just goes with like you're highlighting the brow bone at the same time. And also this will hide like any like little hairs that maybe don't need to be there. And I've seen lately there's been like a trend on the, not necessarily the runway, but more the red carpet. A lot of like celebrities are doing more of like a boxed kind of look on the brow. It's like a very strong shape to work with. It tends to be a little hard to pull off, but you can absolutely try it. Or you can kind of just take the concealer and kind of just blend it in so it's a softer look. I find if it's like too boxy, it'll make your face kind of more like narrow and your eyes kind of narrow in. So it depends, like if you have wide set eyes, then maybe you can do that to bring them closer together. But I think for our lovely model's face, we're just going to keep it really soft, and so it kind of fades more into the harsh brow. And then we're gonna blend it out because we're looking a little crazy right now. I want to go and just lengthen that tail a little bit more. My brows are very much like trial and error. Like you just kind of have to play around with them until you're happy. And then you kind of just make sure everything's lining up, which it is, so fantastic. And then we're gonna set the sky with brow gel. Brow gel is your best friend. It will keep all the hairs in place all day, because especially if you've filled in your eyebrows and they tend to be longer, they can sometimes like droop down. I know mine do a lot. They can kind of like droop down out of like where you filled in the brow, and you want that like clean, sharper line on the bottom, and then brush them into place.
So you just upward strokes.
Yeah, so it's just short little upward strokes. So you can use any like clear mascara, works perfectly. So you can find that like at your drugstore or anything, or like there are things that are made specifically as brow gel and like colored brow gel too. So you can play around with that to get extra. So now we have this beautiful, strong brow.